Hello, good morning. Little hoarse today after some music and some singing, but welcome once again to the Panpsychic Sauna. This again is 11 days. We're now 44 days into the Panpsychic era, which began January 1 of 2022. And then the first Panpsychic episode was 111, and then we started counting 11 days at a time. So now here we are, February the 13th, one day before Valentine's Day, Super Bowl Sunday. In fact, I'm tied to the Super Bowl in that I am 56 years old, and the Super Bowl is also 56 years old. So whenever you want to know my age, you just check those Roman digits, the numerals, and for Super Bowl Sunday, and you'll know. Anyway, I'm very sad today. I keep learning about friends that have passed away. Yesterday, the world lost a fellow by the name of Mark Bickerton, who was a fantastic jazz and country rock guitarist who had spent a lot of time in San Francisco, and he passed away here just yesterday, from what I'm understanding, and it makes me mad because I'm recognizing that guy was one of the very important people inside a little community, a little tiny community that was made inside a little bar that played some music together that I got lucky enough to be a part of. And that guy was a really important part of it. And it was just neat to see someone who loved music as much as Mark Bickerton did. And I'm sad because it makes me realize how in this COVID situation that we're in, we have a fear of way too much. And right now there should be a lot more fear about the negative effects on our lives if we can't get together and celebrate lives of people, important people to us. And if we continue to tell the stories about people who were locked down because they were in a compromised immune state and not allowed to be with their families in an elderly or very young situation, I don't believe we're applying proper panpsychic, holistic thinking to these matters of the day, which is why I ask again that you educate yourself a little bit about panpsychism, about the power of these direct communications between people that happen through things like the Panpsychic Sauna. And it is incredible to me, and if I do want to become optimistic about what's going on in the world, I have a sense that the best way to do that is to go find honest people who've made honest video pieces, media pieces for the internet, as this is the state of the art. And Joe Rogan is one of those guys. You know, Joe Rogan set out on a course that has been very successful to be able to create a podcast that's really focused on just honesty and being truthful. And it really picks up where Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew started things with Loveline, and the way that they weren't afraid to talk about subjects and even debate them. You know, if you wanted to go back to talk about where freedom was really evident, that was it. Saturday nights watching Loveline, or listening rather. I guess it did become a bit of a video thing, but mainly the magic of radio. And Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla being willing to discuss directly with people about their sexuality, about their sexual fantasies, about love and romance and trying to find the right one. And it was better than any Dear Abby show, because these people sensed, Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla had a sense that what they were doing was very important. and it became very important to the people who listened to it. They actually got real advice, and they heard real debates between people about, very sensitive subject matters. And we don't have any debates anymore. There aren't debates. We have come to the point where we are so smart in the mastery of information that all you need is a Wikipedia and a Google, and you have nothing that is left to the imagination. There used to be an idea that when you debated a topic, there was what they used to say was the jury is still out. The jury is still out on this particular subject. Meaning we all admitted there was more to learn, and we really weren't able to set ourselves on upon an answer to a certain question. Who is God? Right? Things like that. We can sit down with certainty into debate about things that we really can't know with certainty. We can sit down with certain predispositions, thoughts that you've come into the idea with, as far as how you're going to debate a thought. What is your angle? And right now my angle is this. We're simple people. We don't live that long. We are born as these feeble little babies that we always talk about being able to, that we're so helpless that a human baby needs care and love for so much longer than the average animal baby out in the wild. And this nurturing is something that is so important. The ability to teach things like communication in those second and third and fourth years of your life, and the ability to learn, in general, how to balance your imperfect and short life against all this crazy philosophy that we can conjure. And we just conjure it up out of thin air. Panpsychism is an invention. Panpsychism is an idea about how we think, and about what thinking is, and what consciousness is, and what makes up a soul. What is the physics of soul? That's what panpsychism attempts to get into. Is there anything unifying about matter itself? Is matter unified? Is all matter unified in such a way as to make all the reaches of space that seemingly contain no matter, or very little of it, and then these arranged chunks of matter around planets that we have, where we know the matter is very concentrated? Are all these things tied together in some way? Is there something here that we can still debate, where our brain is so limited as to be able to understand these topics that we actually should just put them out there and discuss them as though nobody really knows for sure? I mean, wouldn't that be more fun to have a person trying to talk to you from a standpoint of an admission on their part that they don't really know what they're talking about, and that they need community with an audience and somebody that can hear what they're saying, reflect on it, add pieces, turn it around, whatever, look at it from a different perspective, give it back into the conversation. Can't we recognize that these things that Wikipedia has attempted to mash into known truths, that these ideas about knowing things, these are very abstract ideas. Can we know things existentially? Can we understand anything? Are we really very capable of being knowledgeable? Or do we just like to think that we are? Here we are, this sort of being that can spend time in places like saunas, just randomly sort of wasting minutes with no idea about what you're getting back from it, unless you can imagine it, unless you can dream it up. If you're in a private place, a sauna, a special thing, a special part of nature, a special place anywhere in the world, and you wish to make it important, well, you can. You just have to imagine it as important. Where are you going to find that on Wikipedia? You're going to go out and find out that Wikipedia tells you this particular place or this particular idea or such and such is sacred, or you're going to let something like a Wikipedia or a Google be the center of your informational universe? Or are you going to respect your own brain and its conscious ability to conjure these things as truly empirically valuable to you? Meaning, what you can think, is it valuable? Does it have a worth? Or is it one of these things that when you pass away, like our friend Mark Bickerton just did, is that all gone? Is there no actual connection between people? Is there no lingering, tie that keeps our souls interconnected? It's a debate. It's worth having. And in the circles of philosophy, this debate has been limited to discussion of theology, psychology, various combinations of things that way that we should admit we don't understand. If we can just have a little bit of humility here and recognize how gosh darn difficult it is to be a human being, and yet how simple it is that these two things are diametrically opposed, yet they are the truth. What you are doing in your life is very simple. You live and you will die, and we will all die. And as strange as that is to understand, that there is a timelessness about our thoughts that we sense, that we even sense about others, as I'm sensing about Mark Bickerton. The Egyptians believed that to speak the name of the dead is to allow them to live again. So Mark Bickerton deserves that. We all deserve it. We deserve to have people on this planet that feel connected to us, whether we are or not. We deserve that feeling of connection, if it's scientific or it isn't. So the idea of using panpsychism to try to discuss things, it's right. It's right. It steps back in a very humble way. It says we're spinning masses of electronic energy traveling at the speed of light with nothing about us that is permanent. All of it in motion, every bit of it in motion. How does that aggregate to become a soul, or to become a thought, or to become a life, an existence? How does that happen? We need to find out. We need to pursue these things with an attitude that says we may never know, and we may remain locked in debate about undecided truths, unknown facts, partially understood truths. These things, these are okay. We're okay. You're okay. I'm okay. I'm total loser sitting in my sauna talking to you with the idea that you might hear something out of this, that I might feel something as a result of trying to give it to you that is valuable to me. These things may have values that we haven't tried to calculate, because when you're looking at my totals and you're trying to see how many people have viewed this to judge its value, you'll see that almost nobody has viewed this. You are the one viewing this. I am the one making this. This is a small thing. I would wish that it could be heard by the whole world. I would wish that the things that we each thought could be broadcast in such a way that everyone heard them, the way they do when Joe Rogan speaks. But I'm at a point here where I'm understanding there's got to be a humility. There has got to be a room for those things which we just simply do not know. And as we attempt to compartmentalize knowledge into all of the things that we do know, and that we can find on Google, and that we can know immediately because we can get a definition, this is a wrong way of looking at what information represents to us. Information is so overwhelming that there's no way one human brain can consider it. There's no way that multiple human brains can come together and create a collective that agrees. There's no consensus that is possible. We are each having a lived experience which is unique. And we need to be able to have a language that talks about it in that way. We cannot deal from a land of definites, because the most basic thing, how much longer will we live? How many more moments? How many more breaths will we take? We don't know these things. Isn't that enough on its face to help you to admit that you are not made stronger through certainty? You are made stronger through embracing uncertainty and learning how to surf it, as if the waves are coming at you, and there are some things you can control and those things which you cannot control, and that you should learn to know the difference, and that we should learn as a community to deal with one another as if we are attempting to know the difference. Can we change the temperature of the planet realistically and practically? Do we change the planet accidentally in terms of its temperature and its climate? Do we have the power to change the climate of the planet or even measure it on it? Can you measure the temperature of the planet right now and put it here behind me on the wall? Can you do that? Yes or no? Well, I would argue no. There are too many places we don't have enough thermometers. So we will always be inaccurate to a certain degree. There's my pun for the day. Anyway, hey, I appreciate you being here. Today is an important day because I'm mad that we don't have the balls to get together and throw a funeral. That I just watched a graduation ceremony where all of the graduates arm bumped the professors at the school. I don't understand it. I don't understand. If they don't want to be near one another because there's a danger, why is an arm bump any better than a handshake for a respiratory virus in a medical community? What are we doing? Are we really going to give away hugs and kisses and togetherness out of some idea of the empirical fear, this real fact of a pandemic fear that hasn't changed the average rate that people, the mortality, the death age that people die? We haven't changed that at all. This disease came along and it has taken a lot of older and infirmed people to death. But it didn't change the average age that we all die globally at. We're still seeing COVID mortality age that is on average even a little higher than the essential mortality age for all people. Hey, I don't understand what we're doing here, okay? And I'm mad, and I'm a grumpy old man now, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to use all this information, and I'm recognizing that I have to see the value in it. I have to, because YouTube is allied in a way that is to say that people who want to talk like I do, as though there's no hard science and we're still learning. We're not popular. The popular view is that we are so damn smart, we know everything. You want to know it too? You just go look it up. You want to learn it? You don't have to find answers. There's no more finding of answers. You just have to go look them up. They're there. Everybody's tried to find answers and they've been found, every one of them. Every word has an interconnected dialogue that now goes to all the other words. And there is a religion at play here. It's an informational religion. It's an attempt to say that if you can control the history books and the chemistry books and the psychology books and the philosophy books, that somehow you are going to corner thought and consciousness, and you are somehow going to direct and guide, as if a government, the way that people think. And when you gain enough humility to understand that this is an impossible thing to do, as it is impossible to measure the temperature of a planet as diverse as ours, it is impossible to impose a factual reality on a people. You simply can't do it. There is no tribal structure that allows us to all come together under a common roof where we elect a certain party and avoid certain topics or avoid negativity. Anyway, it's not possible. Can't we just get along and understand that panpsychism is just another dumb word we made up about a consciousness we don't understand in a desperate effort to try just a little bit? Anyway, so this is my effort to try just a little bit. I thank you for being here. I really hope that this 13th day, Super Bowl Sunday of the year 2022, is something that you're enjoying. I hope you might tell your friends about this podcast and about the fact that I'm going to do it every 11 days forever till I die. At least that's my try. And that you should try to do whatever it is you can do and enjoy your sauna. Let yourself get warm and feel the panpsychic energy that comes to you if you are lucky enough to be in that kind of warm place. And I'm awfully glad you could join me here. I'm not totally naked today. I kind of wore my robe and I don't even have it turned up very hot, but I'm comfortable and it's nice. And I'm glad you could be here too. I love you. I love my family. I love my friends. I love Mark Bickerton. I love Cindy Ranella. I love the fact that we still have an opportunity to be so many neat things that we have no idea about. And I hope that your idea about it has something to do with the kind of global thinking and love for yourself and for who you are that allows you to feel like a part of the whole universe, a very important part. And that is panpsychism in the way that I'm using it, as applied panpsychism. And this is the Panpsychic Sauna. I'm Warren Dexter, your host. I hope you leave comments, maybe some questions, anything. Feel important. Have a great day.